Hi, I'm Adam, and this is my Super Toolbench. So this is the second iteration of my toolbench. It came about from necessity, as I had more tools than I could fit in my two-car garage. So I managed to design and build a rolling toolbench that incorporates 12 tools into a very small space. These tools are all corded, and I bought most of them used. At first I wanted to have them all plug into a common electrical manifold so that they were all powered up all the time, but then I changed my mind as I felt that may have been a little dangerous. I also wanted to have a dust extraction system built in, but that proved to be far too difficult. As you can see here, I started by modeling up the design. I measured up each one of my tools and tried to get them to fit into a space that would fit in my garage. Then I made sure that they could each pivot or move as they needed to without interfering with each other. The frame of the toolbench is made of common HSS, flat bar, pipe, angle iron, whatever I needed to mount tools to. I welded it myself, and I am not a welder, but in order to have both of our vehicles still park in our garage, I had to fit it into a certain space, which was 43 inches high, 36 inches deep, and 101 inches long. As you can see here, the movable tool bench fits underneath my fixed tool bench. I pull it out whenever needed. It's on casters, moves quite freely, but it is quite heavy, as you can imagine. So I was going to step through each one of the tools here. First I have my sander. It just slides out nicely. Next I have my wood lathe. It's tucked in at the bottom. I put a handle on the headstock so I can easily grab it, and then I grab the tailstock as well and lift it up and over, and it sits and rests on top of the tool bench itself. Now I got some crazy linkages there to allow that to happen, but I also have some spring assist. There's some gas springs on each side that help it lift up. The top of the tool bench is a spoil board that splits in half. Mounted the router to the underside of the one, and once you put the fence on top with a bunch of feather boards, it works like a table mounted router. Works pretty good. With the top of the tool bench opened up, you can have access to the bandsaw underneath. It pivots into the upright position with the assistance of a couple of gas springs. My jointer is kind of hidden underneath. It pivots and locks in place in the upright position so that I can get a garbage can underneath it for all the sawdust and chips that come off of it. It also has a gas spring to assist it in lifting up as well. The bench grinder just pivots, comes out, locks in place. Below the bench grinder is my metal bandsaw. It pivots into place, and we remove a pin, which allows it to pivot up and down. And then it also has a slide that goes along the bottom rail of the frame to allow to hold up longer pieces of metal. Originally I planned to have a abrasive cutting wheel here, but bandsaw is way better. Once again, with the top open, you can get access to my drill press. Now this is quite an old drill press. It still makes semi-round holes. It's quite heavy. That's why I have 2 gas springs to help it in raising into the up position. On the one side of the frame, I have a removable post that slides out of the frame. I use it to support the scroll saw when it pivots into the up position to a nice working height. The planer quite simply hangs off the back of the frame of the tool bench. It pivots into the up position, folds out, and uses the rest of the tool bench as kind of a run-out table. In the stowed position, the table saw is in the ready position. It uses the rest of the tool bench as a run-out table at the right height. Now, underneath the table saw is my miter saw. To flip that around, you pull the lever out, which unlocks the pivot, and then you have to pivot around so that the miter saw is on the top. Once in the top position, you put the lever back in to lock it in place. What's interesting here is that the rest of the tool bench also serves as a lead-in table for the miter saw at the right height. So once again, I remove the post from its storage position in the frame and insert it into the slot below the miter saw, which then becomes a support for anything on the run-out side of the miter saw. My first tool bench was made completely out of wood. It worked well. I actually wore it out, causing me to have to replace it with this new one. It held 10 tools, but it had some problems. Seeing as how it was made out of wood, the wood would flex and cause some issues with making a straight cut sometimes. On this old tool bench, all the chips and sawdust that came off all the tools would get captured in the main body of it, and as it would turn around, you would just toss them around and make a huge mess. The new tool bench is a lot more open, allowing all those chips and sawdust to fall to the ground. So once again, here's the clip showing all 12 tools on the new tool bench. And that's it. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. There's lots more coming.